Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cluckin Crew podcast. I
Hey.
am, hey, I am one of your hosts, the one and only Mike Cook, the creator and voice of Chucky Chicken, and with me, as always, is my very good pal, my co-director, producer, the one and only Alliyas Lavigne.
Yeah, dude. I've had people pronounce it Lavigne.
Oh, that's weird.
I know, right?
That is weird.
The
So-
G and E at the end doesn't
Yeah.
throw you off at the a bit, but
Hey, I pride myself of being able to pronounce it correctly. If I could talk, I need my coffee to kick in. Hello,
oh no,
everybody.
my mic is way too loud. What's up?
Oh, it's okay. First and foremost, Tamrico, you fiend! How dare you do this to us right when we start our podcast? Thank you so much for your $50 donation. How surprised do you think they'll be when they finish setting up and see this here? Very.
Well, I mean, I saw it come in, but I mean,
Don't ruin the surprise. Oh my goodness.
don't ruin the streaming magic.
Right. Thank you so much, Tamrico. This is very, very generous of you. So let's see who else is here. Kimberly Gonzalez. Hi, Kim. Charlie Har Studios. Cock-a-doodle-doo. How do you do? We're doing pretty good today. Tamrico's here. We got Farnoggin in the house. Who else do we have here? The one and only Saberwing. I half expect Banjo to come running in down the dirt path with Kazooie. I know.
Yeah.
So does that mean y'all like the new music, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's new for you guys, but
is true.
we figured
Music
we'd
was
try something else. I may switch over to the normal music during the news just because it's a little less distracting.
A little bit, yeah.
But,
So-
yeah.
Saberwing, it's a bop. Tamrico, ha ha ha. So my grand master plan worked to start you guys off with a laugh. Well, thank you. And thanks to all of you folks who are tuning in, whether you've been here a couple times. Hector Manuel says, I am playing Cult of the Lamb while watching this.
Nice.
Ooh. All right. Well, there you go. But anyway, Timeless Tune Studios. Hey, howdy, hey. Welcome. Nice to see you. So, yeah. If you haven't been here before, welcome to the podcast. This is your behind the scenes look into everything Chucky Chicken. And we also talk about a lot of other stuff too. So, so we're just going to preface all of this craziness right off the bat. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave your thoughts down below on everything that we're going to talk about today. We got a great show for you. And before we get into all that, we're going to start things off with
The news.
Hit me with that soundbite. Oh yeah. Alrighty, so I'm gonna do the last one first that I sent you. Am I gonna do the last? Yeah, we'll do the last one first, Alliyas. So the one that I sent you last.
Okay.
Today. So in independent animation news, the Amazing OR3O actually put out a brand new video based off of the Amazing Digital Circus called Digital Hallucination. Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's a good spot.
Timeless Tune Studios really quick says, honestly, I prefer the normal music over the 8-bitty one. Way too energetic. I love it. Consider that a compliment. Oh, thank you.
I'll
That's
switch
very
it back.
sweet.
I just want to make sure that I
Yeah.
don't get distracted.
Exactly. So, OR3O is a friend of our channel. She is a fan of Chucky Chicken. I know her personally. Very, very sweet gal. Absolutely adore her. What's super cool about this music video, because obviously lots of fan projects are made, especially with really big popular IP. Hasbin Hotel had one with Attic that then eventually became an official Vivian Madrano produced short. Kind of the same thing here. The entire cast of the actual pilot for the Amazing Digital Circus reprised their roles for this music video. And let me tell you, the song is a bop. So I may not be the biggest fan of Digital
show,
Circus.
yeah.
The show. Thank you. I tried to be cute with my with my abbreviations. Did not work. I know Saberwing's like, what? I know, crazy, but yeah. So, go check it out. We'll leave a link in the description after the show. I'm assuming you have not seen it yet, Elias.
No.
Okay, well there you go. I guess that's where we're going to talk about it then. So,
But we love Oreo. We love her.
we love Oreo. Yeah, we're trying to get her.
So crazy high.
I don't
Sorry
know.
about that, guys. If I'm peaking my audio a bit, if I laugh.
For once,
I'll
it's
fix it.
not my fault.
Yeah.
So, and just to kind of round up indie animation news, we'll go to the second story then. I think it's no surprise for everyone. The countdown has officially begun. Hasbin Hotel premieres tomorrow on Prime, and the first episode on YouTube tomorrow as well. Ahoy, Flint Carnage! Nice to have you aboard. You're getting ahead of me there, Flint. So we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the Vivian Bedrano produced, A24 produced, Amazon Prime released show Hasbin Hotel coming out tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. What about you folks, and what about you, Elias?
I mean, I'm curious to see it because I mean I did watch the original pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm sure it's something.
I've been watching a lot of the reviews and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of people are saying that it's essentially an animated Broadway musical, which I love Broadway musicals. So
okay, well I like that, but I hope that they handle the musical aspect of it a bit better than the original pilot, because that did not give musical, even though it was kind of being like hinted towards being that.
I mean, from all the previews that we've seen, I mean, the song Happy Day in Hell is, oh my gosh, that's a wonderful song, and it really is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, and the new cast, I mean, obviously there was like controversy about that a couple years ago, but I am really looking forward to seeing what, we've been waiting 5 years for this, so yeah. I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's see here. We have Timeless Tunes again. Says, some of my friends are really excited for it. I'm more of a hell of a boss person, to be honest, but I'm still pretty excited. It's kind of hit or miss, right? You either love Hasbin and hate Helava, or the other way around, or both. I mean, I enjoy both shows. I think,
I don't know about Helava or Hasbin, but I do like Hell of a Boss. I need to catch up on it, but I've enjoyed what I've watched.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're really excited about this this musical coming out. And speaking of musicals, there's a brand new show coming out off Broadway, and I wanted to talk with you folks about it because it's incredibly interesting. It's called Burbank, and it's a play about Disney artists, the Disney artists' unionization efforts in 1941. So they're basically doing a play based off of the Disney studio strike in the early 40s and late 30s. Now,
that's a pretty cool thing to make a musical about.
I agree. Just so to kind of go a little bit into info about it, it says Burbank, a theatrical play about Disney's artists' efforts to unionize in the early 40s, will get an off-Broadway run from March 12th through the 24th and will be available to stream on the Third Wing platform, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Written by Cameron Darwin Bossert, the play focuses on the face-off between Walt Disney and animator strike leader Art Babbitt, which led to the artist strike on May 28th of 1941. Now, that's actually really big, because Art Babbitt was he was the creator of Goofy. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Like, he created the character of Goofy. He wrote all of the character descriptions for all of the classic characters.
All of the old model sheets and character Bibles that the artists would use was made by that guy.
Yeah, exactly. The stoppage saw 334 employees of the Disney studio walk out on strike. 303 employees remained inside. Tensions had been building at the studio since the runaway success of the studio's first film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, in 1937. Employees of the studio had a litany of grievances, from low wages and salary cuts to arbitrary layoffs, arcane bonus distribution systems, and oppressively long hours. Bossert stars in the production alongside Ryan Blackwell and Kelly Lord, Blackwell from the Onion News Network and Lord from Life and Beth. The show's stage manager is Lauren Arneson, and Burbank features costumes by Yolanda Balanya and sound design by Diba Montezeri.
I would be really interested to see it, just because I think that like it's almost like a perfect setup for a musical, like overcoming the struggles of this like entity that you have to like. Did they end up winning?
They did. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell people, go to Defunctland and watch his video on the craziest party Walt Disney ever threw. That actually goes super in depth. So basically, to kind of give you a little bit of backstory on the Disney strike super quickly, it was one of the most important strikes in the animation industry. Without this strike, Disney was very anti-union, right? It's kind of known at this point. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things where, Walt Disney started the company on his own with his brother Roy, and there was just a lot. Defunctland, no, you'll get their Fast Pass video trapped in everyone.
I do remember seeing that.
That was a good one though too. On May 28th of 1941, the strike began. And it really was it was a huge deal, and it was obviously very much appropriate with the strike that happened last year in Hollywood, and there are talks again of an animation strike this year, which could devastate the industry again. I think it's really important for people to know, like, this is nothing new. And the Disney studio, again, go do your own research on it, but it kind of shows, like, Walt wasn't a bad guy, right? He believed that they were all a big family, but as the studio got bigger because of Snow White and the newly developed feature film division, there was just,
once you
and
have
then the
enough
war,
people,
right?
It can't really be a family. It has to be an organization, and I think that was something that Disney didn't really, Walt didn't really account for. Like, he didn't really realize that, this is like a whole industry that I have in my possession now. I have to kind of make sure that everyone's good.
Right. But he also had a lot of people who really were manipulative and trying to do harm to the artists. And even at that point, people were still trying to buy the Walt Disney Studios and steal it from Walt. Unbeknownst to a lot of people at that time, the same thing kind of happened to the Fleischers at Paramount. They had strikes around this time as well. The Fleischers will be a part of our next story because that's kind of a big one. But they were stationed in New York City, working for Paramount, creating cartoons, and the Fleischers ended up basically making a deal with Paramount that they wanted to move their facility off of New York because of this strike, because of low wages, very difficult living situations, overworking out. Like, animation is not for the faint of heart. I think people don't really understand. Like, even like working on this matinee that we did last year, a lot of people don't understand just like how much work really goes into making animation, especially the way that we do it, right?
Yeah.
And
it's very much like, it can really feel like hard labor sometimes. I would never compare it to like being a mechanic or something, but it really takes a toll on you.
Right, especially in like the indie animation scene, where a lot of times, unfortunately, the rates aren't quite industry standard because we can't afford that, right?
Yeah.
But in the early 40s, late 30s, Fleischers moved their operation from New York to Miami. What do you mean, Mike? You just tap your little stylus onto your little tablet and makes the squiggles and colors dance. Oh, I wish it were that easy. No, I don't actually. I'm thankful it's not that
it
easy.
Is like a labor of love for the people who are like super invested in it.
Exactly. And because of that strike and because of the move, you know, Fleischers ended up owing Paramount like close to $1 billion, I think. And Paramount was able to split the brothers up and take the studio from underneath them, stole all of their characters and all of their films and everything, and left them high and dry. Wow. It's like a really sad story of what happened with the Fleischers. And people were trying to do that with Disney, but he just was like, I refuse. I'm not going to do it. You know, we're a family here. I like, go watch that video from Defunctland. Like, truly, he goes super in depth with it. And that strike was so pivotal to what led to basically kind of the near destruction, but also then the saving of the Disney company during World War II. Like, it really is fascinating. But anyway, speaking of the Fleischers, our last story that we're going to talk about today happened yesterday, but I still think it's important to talk about because, I don't know.
It's this guy. He's 95 now.
Yeah, Popeye the Sailor turned 95 years old. On January 17th of 1929, a walk-on character in the Thimble Theater comic strip appeared and changed the world forever. In the story, Castor Oil and his friend Ham Gravy, who is also the boyfriend of Castor's sister Olive Oil, were going on a treasure hunt and needed somebody to help steer the boat. When they get to the dock, Castor Oil points at the first wharf rat that they see and asks, "Hey, are you a sailor?" And the sailor's first words were, "D'ya think I'm a cowboy?" And he says, "Okay, you're hired." And that sailor was none other than Popeye. And 95 years later, he, of course, now is still around with us. I actually, brought into animation by the Fleischers starting in 1933. The story of Popeye's role into animation is absolutely phenomenal. Max Fleischer loved the character so much that he actually wrote to King Feature Syndicate and said, we want to turn this character into a cartoon, because that was sort of the practice during the day. Right? IP-based entertainment is nothing new. We're doing it last century. They're doing it again this century. Anyway, but King Features didn't believe that Popeye would work in animation and required a test. So the first pilot of Popeye the Sailor actually is part of the Betty Boop series. And Popeye the Sailor set up everything that we know about the character and the world and everything that we know about him today. The song, the voice, Olive Oil, Bluto, Spit, everything. And Popeye, of course, continued his animation career, leading to 3 massive specials in the 1930s. Popeye Meets Sinbad, Popeye Meets Alibaba and His 40 Thieves, and Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. All 3 Technicolor 2-reeler films that were nominated for Oscars, but Sinbad unfortunately lost to Snow White.
Yeah.
But Popeye would continue to basically dominate the movie theaters all the way through 1956, find a new life in television syndication, have 200 more cartoons created from 1961 through 1963, which it took them 20 years to do the same over at the Fleischer Brothers studio. And King Features wanted to do 200 in 2 years, and boy, did they. Yeah. Then going into the 70s, Popeye the Sailor, of course, was picked up once again, this time by animation juggernaut Hanna-Barbera. And the cartoons were very much closer to what Max Fleischer and his team had done in the 30s, with the only remaining constant at that time being Jack Mercer, who had picked up the role of Popeye in 1935 and continued to voice the character until his death in 1984. The last television series of Popeye was Popeye and Son in the late 1980s, where the spinach-eating sailor settled down with olive oil and had a family with his own son, Junior, who ironically enough, just like his papa, gets super strength after eating spinach, but unlike his dad, he hates it. So it's really, again, it was a very different audience, but a lot of people like the Hanna-Barbera Popeyes because they implemented more of the comic strip, which was created by L.C. Seeger in 1919. So 10 years this Popeye, this comic strip Thimble Theater went on before Popeye even made an appearance. Today, there's not a whole lot of Popeye going on. Obviously, everyone knows that there was supposed to be a Popeye feature film created by Sony Pictures Animation, headed up by Genndy Tartakovsky. That fell through the cracks.
Well, not entirely.
Oh?
Isn't that the one where the whole movie storyboarded was leaked?
Right, yes. Well, okay. Well, it was not finished.
It wasn't finished, but the film itself in its storyboard form was leaked, right?
Yes, exactly. So you can watch it if you know where to look. I'm not going to divulge that information, but in 2004, for the character's 75th anniversary, he stepped into CGI for the very first time in Popeye's Voyage: The Quest for Pappy. But however, before that, in 1980, Popeye made his grand return to the silver screen in a multi-million-dollar, big-budgeted live-action musical. Directed by Robert Altman and starring Robin Williams in his first ever theatrical role as the muscle-bound sailor Popeye, also featuring Shelley Duvall as a picture-perfect olive oil. It was actually released through Walt Disney Pictures, through their Hollywood Pictures line. The movie...
That's so weird, the intersection of all that stuff.
Ironically enough, they actually built the entire town of Sweet Haven in Malta, Spain. To this day, you can actually go and visit Popeye's Sweet Haven and all the sets and everything as a tourist attraction.
That's pretty cool.
The film made money, but unfortunately, it just was a little too outdated. It was just a little too out there for people. I like the Popeye movie, believe it or not. There's not really a big presence of Popeye animation today. Back in 2015, 2016, they did a series of YouTube content, Popeye's Island Adventure, which de-aged the characters, bringing them from adults to preteens. Bluto lost his massive beard, Popeye lost his pipe, and the whole series lost its charm. Other than that, unfortunately, the character has not made a grand appearance in animation form as of yet. Popeye is a very special character to me personally. He is the first character that I ever animated when I was in high school. When I was experimenting with Toon Boom. He was the character that I chose to animate dancing to the sailor's hornpipe, which is of course the da 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 da. Okay, so Malta is an independent country in Europe. I apologize. I know it's off the coast of Spain, but yes, it is in Malta. So anyway, thank you for the correction, Hector. I appreciate that. I also have a bit of connection with Popeye and the movie itself. When I was in college, after returning from the Disney college program and that failed experiment, I was a bit Disneyed out, but I still loved animation, and they started learning more about the character, about different characters outside of Disney, and Popeye popped up on my radar. And I loved the character. I watched all the Fleischer cartoons. And I wanted to do my own kind of take on Fleischer Popeye, right? So at the time, I wrote to the then VP of Creative Services at King Features, a man by the name of Frank Caruso. Very sweet man. If you watch the DVD collections that they put out in the early 2000s, he is heavily featured in all of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which is kind of how I got his contact. Spent some time talking with me, and we talked about Popeye. And he actually told me years before it was announced that Genndy Tartakovsky was going to be taking over the Popeye movie, which kind of blew my mind that it was in development for that long. Unfortunately, I was set up to get the rights and a license to do a Popeye animated like special for college, right? I wanted to do it the right way, and I wanted to basically, go through the proper channels of learning how to get IP licensing. Like that's kind of part of the college curriculum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with Frank, and everything was set to go. They gave me permission. They liked my concept. They liked my idea. They liked what I wanted to do. And all the contracts were written up and everything. And right before they could send it for me to sign, Popeye hit the cover of Variety, where Sony had basically purchased the rights to the character for a feature film that was going to be directed then by Avi Arad. And we all know how that ended up. So because of that, I didn't get the chance to work with Popeye. But I still love the character, and he's the quintessential American icon, right? He was a sailor in the Navy. He is a depiction of everything that is good and chivalrous. He is strong. He's a tough guy, but he is a gentle giant. He beats up all of the bad guys, Bluto, of course, especially. Loyal to the same girl, Olive Oil, a great dad to his adopted Ink Fink, Sweepy, good friend to Wimpy. I mean, how could you not love Popeye? So, happy 95th anniversary to the muscle-bound sailor. What about you, Alliyas? Any Popeye stories? Any connection?
I remember that Popeye was probably one of the earliest cartoons that I watched as a kid. Like, I think that they must have had a block where they were still showing the black and white ones on TV. I've always liked Popeye. He's just cool.
Yeah. And he beat Superman to the punch by a couple of years, too. Which I think is pretty cool. But that's the news. Alliyas, who brings us the news?
Our Patreon and merch store. We got these cool cardigans. We have some mugs. We have some other like hoodies and hats and all that cool stuff. And if you don't want to do that, we have a Patreon where you can get like all sorts of different perks depending on like what one you choose. And yeah, I mean we bring us the news also.
Yeah, we do. And we also, as of this week, we officially launched ChuckyChickenCartoons.com, our official website. It is not done yet. We are still working on it, but we're very excited to be able to have a permanent home for Chucky Chicken where you can watch all of his cartoons, and you can, all the links to the merch store and the Patreon, and kind of learn more about the characters. What was that?
It'll all be down below.
Exactly. It'll be in the down or the up, wherever. They keep changing it. So
it's
yeah.
It could be up in the next few years. How weird would that be?
That would be very, very weird. But yeah. So thank you to all of the wonderful folks who have purchased stuff on our shop and on our patrons, of course. Actually, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to our patrons. So let me go ahead and. Holy heck, I think they changed everything here. Let me,
Not updating the site UI.
Yeah, right? For God's sake. Anywho, let me switch over to Creator and Community. Let me see. Bear with me here, folks. Oh, okay. Where are we? Okay, audience. So, a very special thanks to Cartoonosaurus Rex and their $5 donation, as well as Jolly Rancher Guy 2.0 and his $20 donation every month. Thank you. Brush and his $3 donation. Tamerco, Our main man with $5 a month, thank you very much. We have Insignios with $3 a month. We also have, let's see here, H Folded 123 with $3 a month. Thank you very much. DJ Animations with $3 a month. Comedy E Studios with a $20 donation. Thank you very much, my friend. JB Behemoth with a $3 donation every month. And Pete Huntington with a $5 donation every single month. So thank you very, very much to all of you wonderful folks. And if you would like to be on the list of all those people, head on over to patreon.com and and we'll read your name off too. So, and obviously Tamrico is here today. I don't know if Jolly Rancher is here, but if you are, thank you for hanging out with us. And if you are here, make yourself known in the comments if you are a Patreon member, because we love you and we could not do what we do without you.
You help us make the show happen, because
absolutely
we're all volunteers and we just want to make the funny chicken do his thing.
Exactly. Well, on that note, we're going to take a very quick break, but we're going to continue on with our main attraction for today, Chuckifying YouTubers Part 2. So we're going to take a quick small break, and when we come back, we'll get right into the fun. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after this quick break.
What kind of film department are you running down there, Fox?
Oh, come on. I just bought there.
We need a clean slate.
I want you all to meet Chucky Chicken.
I'm starting to think that maybe what it takes to be a famous director just isn't in me after all.
Hey,
And
Chucky.
I'm rambling a bit, aren't I?
Here we go. Well, good night.
Wait, what are you doing? Don't touch that. No, stop it!
This is ridiculous. I ain't washed up yet. It's gonna take a lot more than that to get rid of Fleischer.
Cheese and crackers. What are you putting in this water, kid?
Soap?
Soap and water. Like a clean soup. I love it.
Oh.
Keep up the great work, kid.
Ooh.
Attention, everyone. I want you all to meet Chucky Chicken.
We already know Chucky, Miss Chelsea.
We sure do. Fair Duncan, best janitor this side of the reefer. Righteous.
Oh, right. Well, you may have known him as the janitor, but now...
Oh, Chuck, you ain't leaving, is you? You was me best mate.
I thought I was your best mate.
No, he's the new co-director.
Oh, well,
okay.
now I'm just embarrassed.
I always thought he was some kind of rat.
Lovely.
Thanks for the fanfare.
Hi kids, Chucky Chicken here. Remember when you're trick-or-treating, be sure that you only go to neighborhoods and areas that you know really, really well. Miriam.